It's time to set aside the superficial. It's time to go deeper. It's time to engage in truth. Here's John Bornschein.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Engage in Truth. This is John Bornschein. I'm the senior pastor of Calvary Fellowship Fountain Valley right here in Colorado Springs, and I'm so excited that you are tuning in. We have a very special program. This is our roundtable format of Engage in Truth here today, and of course, with me here in the studio is Mike Mallinger. Mike, so good to have you with me.
It's good to be back, John.
Well, we have a special guest with us, and today we are talking about an exciting ministry, a new ministry right here out of Colorado Springs that is making an impact all around the world. We have with us here in the studio Dakota Welch. And Dakota, last time that you were here with us, it was November of 2018, and it feels like it was yesterday. And we had the privilege of talking about the launch of a new ministry. And of course, when these ministries launch on like day one, there's all the exciting aspects of that, websites and literature and building a momentum. But for those who are listening here today, I want to introduce them to Creation Station. Not just a ministry that is reaching our community in Colorado Springs and throughout southern Colorado, but across the globe, making a difference. And how exciting it is that we have just even a small privilege, a big privilege, small role to play in this just unbelievable ministry. And before I tell all the listeners all about it, I want them to hear from you. So first of all, Dakota, welcome back to Engage in Truth.
Thanks, John. It's great being back here. As you already pretty much elaborated, that Creation Station is just a ministry focused on creating prosthetics for families who are unable to afford them. And as you can imagine, a prosthetic is pretty expensive. Even for a non-functional prosthetic can cost upwards to $10,000.
Wow.
Our focus is to pretty much provide a functional hand prosthetic for free. And it's something that a child could wear about 5 years old or older, and it provides a great thing for them to use in place of a hand.
Wow. So let me just make sure that our listeners understand this. You are creating prosthetics, but it's not the conventional way. A conventional prosthetic, as you just mentioned, $10,000 or more. And there are so many people impacted by this. I remember the numbers that you were talking about last time, that the statistics were actually quite higher, I think, than most of us are really aware of, that the need is actually quite significant, and you're using 3D printing technology to do that. What are the statistics right now? How many children are I know the numbers are quite staggering, of one out of every so many children are born with this need.
I believe the statistic is about 1 every 10, and a lot of it's amniotic band syndrome. For the most part, they're either lost all fingers or partial fingers, or sometimes some of these fingers are fused together, and they have to have them amputated. There's all kinds of variations, and some children are just not born without a whole hand or a partial arm. My focus also is to provide arms as well.
Wow.
Now, Dakota, you have a successful career. You're raising a young family. You're even active at our church. So life was pretty rewarding on all fronts for you. So why did you feel the need to take on this ministry?
Well, Mike, it goes back to when I was in high school. I volunteered for a group called Dream Catchers. He's part of this history class of Mr. Ham, and he actually opened and asked for volunteers. And I thought it was a great thing to get into, great organization. And what the Dream Catchers is a program for children and some young adults, provide therapy, horse riding for disabled children that are bedridden, wheelchair-ridden, or have difficulties accommodating to life. And volunteering with that organization was very eye-opening, and it really just it was amazing to be a part of, to see these kids get on top of a horse for their very first time, and they stop crying. They stop, they stop worrying about their all their other worries and their hurt, and their pain and everything else, and they just light up with joy, and everything just stops.
Wow.
And it's just absolutely incredible. And I took that, and it's been with me ever since. And I wanted to pursue something about in that area to provide some kind of service just like that.
Wow, so God got a hold of you right then and there.
Yes.
It was like a spark went off inside of you. And I think a lot of our listeners can relate with that there's a moment where they just go, that bothers me. I want to make a difference, or that inspires me. And that's to fuel me. That becomes something that motivates me. And it sounds like that happened for you.
And it was, my wife and I volunteered for children's ministry, and we did some great things in other churches, but wanted so much more, something a little more impactful. And the good Lord just hit me right on the side and said, here, do this. And it was amazing. Picking up, 3D printing, which I've had absolutely no experience before that, about 7 months ago, and picked up learning software and how to create models and use models and edit models and create something that's from the ground up out of plastic. And it's got such a great impact on these kids' lives so far.
And I love that you called it Creation Station. Again, for those of you just tuning in right now, we have Dakota Welch here in the studio with us, and he is really giving us the behind-the-scenes glimpse of how all this got started, a ministry called Creation Station, printing 3D prosthetics for children all across the world, doing something that was previously inaccessible to them. Tens of thousands of dollars possibly to make that possible in remote villages and countries all around the world. And you are printing 3D arms, hands, full limbs even for these children at no cost to them. And that's why we're talking about this today, because it really is a life-changing ministry that began with a spark. You saw how a need could be met, how it put a smile on a child's face, how it could change a family. And God got a hold of your life at high school, and here you are today, now 6 months later from the launch of Creation Station. I know you've got some stories for us, but with a ministry like this, I know it's a team effort. I know you're not out there doing this solo, even though the Lord has to move in the heart of someone. There's a spark that is formed, like Jeremiah in Jeremiah chapter 20, where there's a flame inside of him, a burden to do something for the Lord. And I think that as a father, as a dad, you now have this burden that I imagine the whole family must share, that's not only impacted your own personal life, but your wife, your children. I mean, I think about when people are adopting through Compassion International, and sometimes we get a photograph and we hear a little bit of the stories, and we really believe in and so badly want to be a part of that solution. And so we give, and we know that they're doing great work. But you are doing something quite amazing here. You're not just simply taking a photo of a child. You are in real time providing a change agent into their lives, into their whole family's life. Can you just share with us a little bit behind the scenes here? How is this affecting your whole home life? I mean, do the children help you design these? Do they pick the colors? Is your wife totally on board? I mean, give us the behind the scenes on that.
Well, I tell you what, I've got, it's definitely a team effort. I've got an amazing wife that is incredibly supportive in this whole venture, and we just thought it was amazing to launch this and to see where this goes and see where God leads it. And, it's just been an incredible journey so far. And my children, they're still kind of, trying to figure it out a little bit. But what's cool is that when I print something out, they kind of become my test subjects, but they get to wear it for me, and that, they kind of functionally wear it, and they're like, oh, wow, this is really neat. And trying to teach them a little bit and show them a picture where the kids go, the prosthetics going to. They're like, oh, they've got a sense of reality. Right. And that they understand that where this hand is going, it's going to help them cope with life and, be normal. It's just incredible to see where my kids are going to go with this one day. Science, technology, mathematics, all this other stuff that, the STEM, and just see that flourish. But obviously seeing that it's God-centered and seeing that it's going to impact their lives. And hopefully they'll take the torch one day and go lead a little further, and we'll see where 3D plastic goes, or 3D printing plastic goes from here.
Yeah, you started this about 6 months ago, and you've been part of life-changing ministry with some of these people. I've seen some of the hands, with the little Captain America symbols.
Right.
So share with us some of the stories, these life-changing stories, Dakota.
Well, I tell you what, so far we've helped 4 boys.
Wow.
With a prosthetic hand. They've differentiate from missing all fingers and missing partial fingers, and some of them had to have them amputated just to make life a little easier for them. But we've helped those boys. But one story in particular that really impacted me the most is this little boy named Tommy. He lives in California. He is 5 years old. He was given up by his mom and dad at birth. He had a very bad disfigurement in his left arm, where he has no elbow. His bones were basically infused together, so he had basically one solid arm. And on top of that, he had a finger that was reversed. And as you can imagine, for this little boy, life is incredibly hard for him, always hiding it, trying to cope with life and go forward. Well, he kept asking for his mother's like, "Hey, Mom, can I get a new hand? And Mom, being a nurse, she tried desperately going to universities, all kinds of places to help her little boy, even through Christmas, and tried to get him one. And it wasn't until she went to enable.com, enable.org, and they are a part of this whole venture of providing these prosthetics for children. And in this organization, she put in a request. I saw the request and immediately took off with it. Got to know a little bit of their story, what's going on, and come to find out, when Tommy was in an orphanage, he was extremely malnourished to the point where Mom and Dad did a blood sample on him and found that he was in life-threatening status. That I don't want to say what happened there, but yeah, as you can imagine, things were really bad in China there. So good for that boy to be adopted by loving parents living in California, and they wanted to make his life better. And man, that really tugged at my heart. I cried a little bit because it really hurts me, to see something like that. But you know what? That's something I want to make. I want to make an impact for this child's life. So, because he loves Paw Patrol, and as we were talking about themes and stuff, and getting feedback from kids, and my kids, they knew a little bit about a Paw Patrol, but I needed help. So I love doing themes for these arms. I hydro dip them into different graphics, Captain America. I have all kinds of options. I even did a galaxy hand for like a little girl or something. And for him, it was definitely Paw Patrol. Got the colors down. I even hand painted the emblem. Printed out the emblem where it says Paw Patrol, hand painted it, and it looks incredible. And sent it to Mom. Mom and son were beyond overjoyed. Guess Mom even said he had a little squeaky voice that just was so overjoyed, and as you can imagine, just living even just a partial of your life without a full functioning arm, to have something in your as a prosthetic like that, and it's functional, it to be in place of his new, or to have a new hand, was greatly impactful. They were so overjoyed. That right there was extremely rewarding.
Absolutely. And I've seen the pictures of Tommy. It just seemed like, he's glowing. His life is changed. And we think, yes. I think one thing that perhaps, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, is that maybe some of modern media and entertainment that have shown like almost these android arms and robotics and things that kids and the paradigm has shifted, that a child now with a prosthetic, and we're not talking about just a piece of plastic that looks like a hand. These are fully functioning hands that I have one on my desk thanks to you. The appendages, the fingers are all moving and grabbing onto items. They can throw a ball. They can pick up a cup. all with 3D printing technology. It just absolutely astonishes me.
Right.
And I have to believe that they've gotten even more durable, because I know some of the first models you were practicing and looking at, okay, how do I make this boy-proof, like little boy-proof?
Exactly.
And it seems like you've come a long way even in that. Am I right in saying that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Obviously, no sharp objects. Right. No, these things they can definitely take a beating, and yes, exactly what you said. I found different plastics I can use. It's one that's called PLA Plus, a little stronger, about a level below ABS, but for the most part, the only thing that can really hurt is high heat. And for the most part, yes, they are extremely durable.
I mean, you're sitting these, we were talking about children in Africa and China and all sorts of locations around the world. Right. They need to be durable. It's not like we can just get them another one tomorrow. Right. But for those, again, you're tuning in right now, we are talking with Dakota Welch. He's president, founder of Creation Station, a 3D printing technology to produce prosthetic limbs for children all around the globe. And it's something you're able to do. Anybody's really able to do this with, but they need your mind, your passion, and you're part of a network of people doing this, and it's changing lives, and it's absolutely incredible. Now, as we talk about just from the various prosthetics, I picked up an article not long ago. Actually, I'm using old analogies like I'm picking up a newspaper. I read it on my phone from USA Today, and it was an article about how 3D printing technologies have really, unbelievably come so far, dangerously far, because, there were some uses of 3D technology that they were having to put some parameters around. But the potential seems endless. This particular article was talking about how some Israeli scientists had created a functioning heart using human stem cells, if I believe. The article was, if I recall there, using a 3D printing technology, using stem cells, able to make a functioning heart. Now, it was a micro scale, small scale, not a full heart, but that just got my eyes. I was like, this is unbelievable. The possibilities seem endless. Are you seeing when I'm seeing them going, the sky's the limit?
It baffles my mind of how they come up with these things, and it's just incredible. And like this technology you're talking about, it's called bioprinting, and I can already see that futuristic thing that's already happening. You need that vital organ, and you can have it printed right in front of you in a matter of hours.
Wow.
Pretty much. I'm saying this is years and years away, but the truth is it's right there. Even in China, they're printing out bones, and they've proved themselves that they're compatible with a human being. So it's incredible what they're doing so far. Currently my 3D printer can't do that. Just pretty much focused on plastics. And right now my the 3D printer that I have is a little small. And currently I'm trying to raise money for a bigger printer. And one of my big goals, actually two big goals. First is printing out arms. Right now I can print out ones, but it's very small. I'd like to print out adult size. And the next one is actually printing out legs. Love to help out, just like you said, children across the world, even in Africa, kids missing their lower part of their legs.
Right.
So
we've got one on the waiting list already for that.
Yeah. So I that's one of my big goals is getting the funding to pay for that. And then the next one is getting the 3D scanners, so I can take scans of their appendages and I can form fit it and make it even more customizable.
Wow. Yeah, Dakota, what are some of the other ways that you're using 3D technology in your ministry? I know you've helped me. Sometimes I have problems. I have rheumatoid arthritis and I can't open jars. Guys, I have to go to my wife to get her to open jars for me sometimes. Sometimes neither one of us can open it. Then just take a hammer and break it.
Oh, Mike, I've been kind of actually trying to broaden my field a little bit. So I've been doing assistive living devices. I helped you out a little bit with the jar opener, even simple things like that. You'd be incredibly surprised what's out on this open market for 3D printing. It's incredible, and it's free. just grab the model and print it out. And that's what I helped you with. Helped out a couple of people in our church, and even just opening up just a regular soda can. Got something a system living device that helps with that. And another one that's very impactful so far is I was able to print out a uterus, of all things to print out. And actually, this is for pro-life movement. And we have a gentleman in our congregation who actually goes out and trains nurses, and with a scanner and with that, I was able to print out a uterus for him and help him how to train nurses correctly on using ultrasound technology.
Yeah.
So
he was using, I think, Play-Doh before that or something like that, right?
Play-Doh, yep.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, that was pretty hard, messing with Play-Doh. But when you get a 3D model of what you're trying to demonstrate and train on, it makes it more impactful.
Yeah. Did you make more though? Didn't you make a little baby for him?
He actually had the baby, but however, the baby was actually another thing that was a great tool to go inside the uterus to show where the baby is at inside the uterus. I came up with a couple of variations for it, so it was really cool.
Well, I know he was super grateful. And in fact, we need to pray for Wade. We're going to have him back on the radio program because ever since you did that, not only has his ministry grown, he's with Option Ultrasound with Focus on the Family, and he's going to be narrating live the Alive in Times Square. So, I mean, that ministry has really taken off. And so those kind of tools that you've provided even for him, for the pro-life movement and all that that's going on, man, that has just been what an opportunity that God has given you a passion. He's given you the tools. He's provided even a small 3D printer that has really taken off. This ministry has just continued to grow. I know people far and wide have been giving, but I do want to highlight that fact here, right here on this program, that there are ways that people can give, and you are not skimming off the top. A lot of ministries these days, it's tough. I know those who are listening, they're like, okay, great, there's another thing I got to give to, and how do I trust that my gift is really getting to where it needs to go? And I understand the skepticism out there. There have been some abuses, but this is one of those ministries that I am just proud to stand behind because you take almost 100% and you put it right to the child. It is, and I think people need to understand this, a $10,000 plus prosthetic costs them nothing. So whatever you're able to give, for those listening right now, if it's $5, $10, whatever you're able to give, these children receive intermediate variations of prosthetics. So you have first level. As their body gets bigger, they need another level, and then they need another level. So you have to keep providing that. So the shipping, the designing, the measurements, everything is included in that. And so can you just tell us a little bit about that? Just how much does that really cost you that people can donate to help with right now?
Pretty much. And I do checkups on these kids for about 6 months down the road. In fact, our very first child that we helped out, Jet, I checked up with Mama. Hey, how's he doing? And he's like, oh, yeah, prosthetics doing good. He's still adjusting to it well. Takes a little bit to accommodate for him. But pretty much out of pocket for me, about $70 or so. But obviously, but that's just out of pretty much the course of this whole ministry. It could be a lot more than that because of the 3D printer that I'm going to need, the 3D scanner, software, everything else. It quickly adds up. Yeah, and so obviously, I want to be more impactful. And obviously, I would love to have more 3D printers, replicating.
To be able to do legs, we need a $4,000 printer.
Correct.
Even if you have about $1,500 in costs in total for every one of these by the time each one of those limbs are manufactured and distributed. Yep. But still, compared to $10,000, they get, and that's for one. Right. You can do multiple, all for less than $1,500 or so, and be able to send that out. And now we need help with this printer. Look, the need is real. And so if you're listening right now, I want to just give you an opportunity to give to Creation Station in a new and exciting way. Some of us have a hard time writing a check, maybe going online and doing a $20 or $25 gift. But if you're listening, Creation Station is for real. This is a ministry that is changing lives. providing 3D printed prosthetics to children around the world. And you can go to creationstation3d.com. Again, creationstation3d.com. And there you will find various ways to give. One, I'm super excited about. Actually, I'm all excited about any way we can give to this. But for me, it's hard for me to remember all the different ministries I want to give to. So I know you've partnered with Change Trust. And Change Trust is also a Colorado Springs-based ministry, and they round up gifts. So, for example, if I'm going to spend $3.48 at Starbucks or wherever you're going to coffee these days, and you want to round up to the nearest 50 cents, it will take that extra few cents. In that case, it would have been 2 cents, and it would have been donated right to the ministry, right? So everything, if it's 15 cents here, 13 cents there, whatever it is, that'll add up, and you can even set those limits, or you can just let it go for every purchase. I just want to round up to the nearest 50 cents, and all of that goes directly to Creation Station. So it's all at creationstation3d.com, and you can sign up for Change Trust there. It's a simple app. You download the app. You say which card you want it to use, whether it's a debit card or credit card or whatever, and it'll say how much do you want to contribute each month, or no limit. You don't have to add a cap if you don't want to. And then round up every purchase, and you know that with every purchase you make, you're going to be contributing to this powerful ministry. 10 cents here, 15 cents there. It makes a difference. And so if you're listening right now with a burden in your heart, wanting to help children all across the globe to receive prosthetics that opens a door for the gospel message, then we encourage you to go to creationstation3d.com today. Don't delay. You're going to be part of an incredible organization, a ministry that is right here out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. So we are so excited. Dakota, thank you for being a part of Engage in Truth and letting everybody know about this incredible ministry.
Yes.
And I want everybody to get involved. Again, creationstation3d.com. Also learn more about Engage in Truth, the ministry of Calvary Fellowship Fountain Valley at calvaryfountain.com. Again, calvaryfountain.com. And we have a link there to creationstation3d.com as well. So get involved. Bottom line, thank you for listening today. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.